What's up, guys? It's Dan from Coin Bureau Trading. This video is the first of a four-part series I'm going to be doing about how to trade crypto for beginners. If you're a total beginner, then this series is for you. We're going to be taking things literally right from step one. If you're completely unfamiliar with technical analysis, if you're completely unfamiliar with trading, we're going to start right from the beginning. So without further ado, guys, be sure to smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ping that notification bell if this is the kind of content that you enjoy, and let's get right into it. So first things first, guys, you might notice I have a picture of this Asian man here with some candles, or candlesticks, I guess, to be more accurate. Some of you might know that this whole, basically all these charts, all these candles, the whole kind of area, field, let's say, of trading was founded by this Japanese rice merchant named Hanma Munehisa. And he's believed to be the most successful trader of all time because he was basically the first one to identify these patterns in price action. And basically what he figured out, guys, is that price action of all assets, whether it's rice or otherwise, the price action of all assets is ultimately determined by human emotions, and specifically fear and greed. And he found that these human emotions follow a predictable pattern, and he basically charted out all these different patterns, and that's where all of these kind of candlestick patterns come from today, like double top. Well, for him, I think it was a lot of specifically candlesticks like shooting stars and bearish engulfing, bullish engulfing, but even all these other patterns like double top, head and shoulders, this type of stuff, it's all derived from Hanma Munehisa's work ultimately. And this guy, this is from hundreds of years ago. So this is something that's been around for a very long time, and there is a little bit of science to it. But of course, nothing is perfect when it comes to trading. I think it was Joseph Wang who said, the markets are not an algorithm, or sorry, the markets are not an equation. They will never be an equation. They will always be context and judgment. And this is kind of what separates good traders from bad traders, is really the ones who are able to maintain their judgment when things get super emotional. And for the average person, I would say the reason why trading is so hard is because it's so hard for you to stick to your guns and wait until the pattern has played out, because the price action can mess with your emotions so much. And I guess that ties in here very nicely to the Wall Street cheat sheet. It might be a little bit small on the screen here, guys, but it's kind of all showcased quite nicely here on the Bitcoin chart. This is the Bitcoin cycle back from 2017. You can see there was a massive rally, and then of course a blow off top, and a big capitulation down into some super bear market. And the thing is, guys, that if you look at any asset, whether it's Bitcoin or some stock or the stock market or what have you, they all tend to follow a similar pattern. And of course, this is all marked by different emotions on the way up. So you have like disbelief, hope, optimism, belief, thrill, euphoria, complacency, anxiety, denial, right? Again, emotions of greed and fear, greed on the way up and fear on the way down. So the reason why I mention this, guys, is when you're analyzing the crypto market, the very first thing you have to do is ask yourself, which stage of the crypto market are we in? Are we kind of in the bullish phase where people are getting more greedy, or are we in the bearish phase where people are getting more fearful? And of course, if we go here to the Bitcoin chart on the daily, this is extending all the way back to basically late 2022, which is when the crypto market bottomed. You can see that, yeah, guys, that it's quite clear that Bitcoin is in this gradual rising kind of getting greedier and greedier. Of course, for some altcoins, it's a little bit different. But even if we look at the crypto market overall, the crypto market is kind of in this bullish phase. Altcoins tend to lag that. Altcoins, like the rally for altcoins, really tends to come at the end, this end phase where Bitcoin is really going parabolic. That's when altcoins tend to see their biggest participation. Bitcoin is still not quite in that phase yet, and it probably will be getting there sometime over the summer, at least in my opinion. A lot of people think it'll be closer to the end of the year, but the point is, guys, that we're somewhere here, I would say, in the early stages of the greed kind of a part of the cycle. And of course, those final stages, they tend to come quite quickly, and they come in those last few months of the cycle, which again will be approaching either sometime over the summer or later this year. So basically, we're somewhere here in the hope optimism stage with the belief and thrill and euphoria. Those are kind of the three things that are still ahead of us, especially when it comes to stuff like altcoins, which again, they tend to see their biggest gains during that final phase. So this is something to keep in mind. And something actually that's very important to note is that before you do any technical analysis on any crypto, you have to look at what Bitcoin is doing. If Bitcoin, is going in this kind of fearful territory, if it's going downwards like this, then it doesn't matter what you see on the chart for an altcoin. It's probably not going to have a sustained rally. But if you see that Bitcoin is in this rising, gradually grinding higher in the early stages of this greed cycle, or greed part of the cycle, then this is precisely the time where, the chances of an altcoin rallying and continuing to rally are higher than the chances that it will crash and keep crashing, which is precisely why I've been saying the risks are to the upside at this stage in the cycle. But anyways, guys, this is really just like this is really like on the highest level. When you're zooming out, you're just assessing, okay, so we understand that we have like this greed and fear, and where are we kind of in that cycle? Clearly, we're somewhere in the greed stage. But when it comes to shorter term trading, we have to take a little bit of a different strategy. So, introducing now another guy here. This is Richard Wyckoff, who's famous for kind of identifying on the shorter term time frames, or I guess on a shorter term, like kind of within this cycle, these, as you see, like the price is grinding higher. Within this cycle, there are kind of different mini cycles within that bigger cycle, if that makes any sense. And Richard Wyckoff is famous for identifying the manipulation that takes place, let's say, within these smaller cycles. And he has a quote, which is one, in my opinion. This is a quote, especially if you're someone who's actively trading, like, on the day to day. This is a quote you need to burn into your brain, and you should never forget it. I'm going to read it out loud. So just remember these words for as long as you're trading crypto or any other asset for that matter. All the fluctuations in the market and in all the various stocks should be studied as if they were the result of one man's operations. Let us call him the composite man who, in theory, sits behind the scenes and manipulates the stocks to your advantage if you do not understand the game as he plays it, and to your great profit if you do understand it. So this is where we get into these kind of more mini cycles of like accumulation and distribution. And this is something that, again, you see on crypto, especially on shorter term time frames, like 4-hour daily, which, in my opinion, daily is not necessarily like super short term, but regardless, when you're zooming in, like, of course, back here, we're on the daily and we're really zoomed out. But if you're zooming in, especially looking on the 4-hour, keeping in mind this kind of accumulation distribution, we can see this kind of playing out on shorter term time frames. So here you could say quite clearly that what we saw here in mid-January around Trump's inauguration, that was more of like a distribution. What we have going on right now as I'm shooting this video is more of an accumulation. I am shooting this video in advance in case it wasn't clear enough. I'm actually away on the week that these videos are being filmed. But anyways, we can see that we have an accumulation here. We have a distribution there. You could say that we had an accumulation back here as well. We had a little bit of a distribution there. Some would argue that this entire chop that we're seeing here is analogous to a Wyckoфfian accumulation pattern, where you basically have, like, at the end, you have this kind of a spring. This is something that I believe is mentioned lower down here. Yeah. So this is like the more advanced kind of like schematics for how accumulations happen. And of course, accumulations don't always have to happen when prices are crashing. Accumulations could be happening like, something like this. This could be actually an accumulation, even though some would say, oh, maybe it's a distribution. But even this whole structure here could actually be an accumulation with the final zone here in this kind of spring. And then you have a sign of strength. And if it's able to get above that sign of strength, let's say somewhere around 108 or 110K, if it gets above that, then that's confirmation that, yeah, this whole structure here was an accumulation, not a distribution. But of course, that's something that's up for debate, and something that comes a little bit later, let's say. For now, again, the main thing is that we have emotions of greed on the way up, fear on the way down, these very long cycles that last for years. In the shorter term, we have these cycles of accumulation and distribution, which you can see on the daily chart, on the 4-hour, on the hourly. And your task is basically to identify, number one, like before you're trading anything, what stage of the cycle are we in, especially for Bitcoin, because that'll kind of guide your analysis of other altcoins. And then also, are we in an accumulation or distribution area? This is something that can be applied not just to Bitcoin, but of course also to altcoins. Yeah, guys. And in case you didn't notice, we were using Binance there, where we have a 20% trading fee discount and up to $600 in bonuses. Be sure to take advantage of those deals. They don't cost you a thing. Those trading fee discounts do help out a lot. I know that from experience. So take advantage of them using the link down in the description. Yeah, guys, it'll help you out a lot. So this is where things get very interesting, in my opinion, and something that I think a lot of people miss is that when it comes to short-term price action like this kind of accumulation and distribution, in terms of this kind of like Wyckoff type stuff, what a lot of people miss is that liquidations play a very big role in this. That basically what'll happen is that large investors, or even, some would argue it's even like market makers and exchanges and whatever, but regardless, large investors typically, they know where people are kind of looking at these key levels, let's say somewhere around 84,000 or whatever However, they know that traders are eyeing these certain key levels, and they will purposely push prices above or below those levels to trigger liquidations. And during a bull market, when we're kind of in this phase here of the greed phase, whether it's for Bitcoin or for an altcoin or otherwise, when we're in this greed phase, of course, most people, they can see that we're kind of in the bullish phase of the market of the cycle. So they're all going long. They're basically all betting that prices will continue heading higher. And what that does is that whenever there's even like a small crash, it causes a huge crash. But the thing is that the crash is kind of short-lived and the recovery tends to be quite quick. And we can actually see that here. Sorry, going back especially to the 2017 cycle, you can see there was a lot of really big crashes along the way. And we're even seeing a similar thing here with Bitcoin, is that you're seeing, these 20, 30% drawdowns, sometimes even 40% drawdowns over a prolonged period before it keeps moving higher. But you can see if we zoom in that these drawdowns, they're very quick. They happen over the span of a few days, and then within a few days, they're recovering again. But this is not the case in bear markets. In bear markets, you see that crash and it just keeps rolling over, and there's nothing to stop that sell pressure. And that typically happens at a stage when everyone has already invested as much as they could. Everyone has taken on as much leverage as they could, and there's kind of no one left to kind of step in and buy that dip, essentially, because everyone's already allocated everything they could because of how greedy they were feeling, right? Because of all that greed, they bought everything they could. They borrowed as much as they could. They borrowed against their crypto. They did everything under the sun, right? And there's nothing left for them to buy that dip. And then what happens is that the smart money at the table, when they see the prices like rolling over like crazy, which again, we're not at that stage in the cycle right now, but when we do get to that stage here, like in the fear, a lot of this crash is not, of course, it's driven partially by long liquidations, but it's mainly people that it's just like they're realizing, okay, no one's coming in to buy this dip. If it goes any lower, I'm screwed. I need to sell out no matter what the price is. And that's what causes this huge drawdown, is basically have all these people who are unable to buy the dip. They have a lot of leverage, they borrowed a lot of money, and they're like, look, I can't, I need to be able to pay at least some of this back, so I have to sell something. And when this happens in size, then you end up with this massive kind of down move during the bear market. And then the very bottom is typically marked by a very over leveraged entity, basically someone who was borrowing a lot. Like, FTX is actually a good example. I know there was a lot of fraud there, but part of why FTX collapsed was because they had borrowed against basically their own token, and they were not able to pay back this loan, and that basically caused the exchange to go under. Again, it was multifactorial, as they say, but that is one thing that played a big role. So again, when you see, like during this bull phase, when you see these very aggressive long liquidations, don't be surprised by that at all. And in my opinion, this is what makes trading so difficult, is that again, like in the long term, if you're just someone who's buying and holding for like the bullish phase, the greed phase of this cycle, you're completely fine. But if you're someone who's deciding that you want to actually trade actively these movements that are in between, then you not only need to be aware of this kind of Wyckofian, accumulation and distribution in the shorter term, but you also need to be aware of just how much liquidations can cause prices to deviate above and below those levels. Which again, like when I see deviations like that, I personally don't get very surprised. But when we do get those deviations, sometimes people will say, "Oh, it means your analysis was wrong." Well, it's like, well, sure, but there's no one who can get it right 100% of the time, when just like there's like some event and then there's like a liquidation. Again, like if in a world, if there was no long or short liquidations, all of these levels that are kind of identified by traders, whether it's me or someone else, all those levels would always hold, because there would be or I guess they wouldn't always hold, because there would still be a little bit of manipulation. But again, most of these deviations are as a result of liquidations, and then triggering those liquidations is where the manipulation happens, if that makes sense. It's like there isn't an institution somewhere that is putting $400 million down to crash something, but they are, let's say, putting $10 million down to crash it, so that it triggers $400 million of liquidations, which causes prices to fall or to rally, right? Like a short squeeze. Anyways, and the question, of course, is like, what causes these long liquidations and what causes these short squeezes? Obviously, the answer is catalysts, and there's basically, broadly speaking, there's macro catalysts and crypto catalysts. So on the macro side, of course, a good example from recently was these tariff fears, which caused 1 billion in long liquidations. They caused, I think, even 10 billion in liquidations back in February. But the point is that when you have like some bearish macro or bearish crypto factor, that kind of spooks traders, and then some of them will sell, and that causes some liquidations, which causes even more liquidations, which, and it becomes this cascading long liquidation, which results in this massive down move where everyone just feels negative and they feel like it's over, right? Especially when it's on an altcoin at this stage, where altcoins are still kind of, some of them have woken up, but most of them have not yet. And then on the flip side, short short squeezes, of course, are caused by bullish announcement, like Trump's recent crypto strategic reserve type of announcement there from a couple of weekends ago, which in my opinion, I mean, it's quite clear that it caused a massive short squeeze in like ADA, XRP, and Sol and other altcoins. There was a huge short squeeze there, and unfortunately, that was fairly short lived, at least in the shorter term. But the point being is that anyone who was trading and going short and thinking, oh yeah, there's no way that that ADA and XRP or whatever are going to pump, and then there's an announcement like this that comes out of nowhere, and you get like a 60% ADA pump in the day. That's what makes trading in the short term so difficult, and why I always stick to the daily chart. And I'm always thinking kind of like in longer term. I'm thinking in terms of weeks and months, rather than in terms of hours or days, because that's something there's just no way. Like, you're going to get completely destroyed by this combination of long liquidations, short liquidations, and all these kind of institutions that are in. When there's a catalyst like this, someone comes in and says, perfect, I have the perfect excuse to like pump or dump, right? To cause these liquidations, either a long liquidation or a short squeeze, right? This is kind of like how these institutions think. But yeah, guys, but again, to summarize, just take things from the top again, technical analysis fundamentally is based on human emotions of fear and greed. That's where technical analysis has its origins. The first guy to discover this, of course, is rice merchant Hanma Munahisa. Every single kind of whether it's crypto, or I guess in this case we'll just stick to crypto, but any asset basically has this kind of like a bullish phase and a bearish phase, like a greed phase and a fear phase. And all we have to do when we're trading at the very beginning is to ask, okay, which phase are we in? Are we in the greed phase or the fear phase? And the way to check that, of course, you just look at Bitcoin and you just kind of zoom out, for the last couple of years of price action, and you can see, well, it's quite clear that it's going up. So we must be somewhere in this bull phase, right? And that's part of why, and people say, oh, but like altcoins don't look like that. Fine, but the thing is that Bitcoin kind of leads everything else, and again, altcoins see their gains towards the end of that greed phase. So just because they haven't pumped as much as people as expected yet, doesn't mean it's going to happen. Historically, all those gains come at the very end. It comes very quickly in the matter of weeks or months, right? Like literally just 2 or 3 months, and that's where cryptos go up like 50, 100x, right? Anyways, so you look at Bitcoin and you say, okay, so this is clearly somewhere in the greed phase, and then maybe you decide, okay, I want to go and trade. Good. Then in that case, you need to keep in mind what Wyckoff said, that basically you need to understand the whole market as if it was basically being manipulated by one person who's trying to mess you up, right? And the way that they mess you up, in this case, with this, these accumulations and distributions, the way that they mess you up is with basically by triggering or trying to cause long liquidations or short squeezes, is kind of like the main mechanism, let's say, just for sake of simplicity. And when you're trading in the short term, again, you want to be looking, are we in an accumulation zone or a distribution zone? And this is something you can do whether it's on the daily, 4-hour, or whatever. You zoom in and you say, okay, are prices accumulating or are they distributing? You identify kind of these key levels, which is going to be the next episode. And from there, you're able to basically figure out, okay, where could prices go? And then keeping in mind, what are the possible catalysts on the macro side and the crypto side that could cause, for example, this accumulation zone to finish or this distribution zone to finish. So, for example, right now, as I'm shooting this video, Bitcoin's in an accumulation zone. What could be the thing that causes it to get back into like a distribution zone? That could probably be, the announcement later today. I'm filming this on the Friday when Trump's going to do this crypto announcement. Maybe that'll be the catalyst that takes it back up into this distribution zone, and then from there we'll have to play it by ear, right? But you always need to keep in mind, what are the macro, what are the crypto catalysts that could cause prices either to fall into that zone or get out of that zone, whether it's an accumulation or distribution. Yeah, guys, I know I talk a little bit quickly sometimes, so I do hope that all of that sinks in and makes sense. Next time we're going to take a look again at like these key levels and what comes next. So be sure to smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ping that notification bell so you don't miss the next episode.